Okay, we are here on Notes 13.3, Area of Composite Figures. This is one of my favorite lessons, probably out of the whole year, because this is where we get to do puzzles. We get to figure out what shapes we have and how to subtract them to find the answer. So this asks us to find the area of the shaded region, which would be the outside square here. So obviously we have a circle, we have a square, so we're going to start by finding those. So if the whole side length is 8, what would our radius be? If you answered 4, you were correct. And so our formula for circle is just pi radius squared, so it's just pi 4 squared. We go ahead and type that into our calculator, and you use your pi button down on the lower left, 4 squared. It tells us 50.2655. I want to be as exact as possible, so I'm going to write out the whole thing. 50.2655. And now I have a square, so my square, how do you find the area of a square? It's just side times side, length times width. So 8 times 8 equals 64. And now, what am I going to do to find just the shaded part? And I would have to subtract. So 64 minus 50.2655. I type that into my calculator and get 13.7345, which at this point I'm going to go ahead and round to 2 decimal places. So 13.73 would be my answer. Alright, the next one is even more fun. So this one I can do several different ways. I could fill out the whole thing into a big rectangle and then find the area of that square and that triangle and subtract them. Okay, so I could find them all and subtract, or I could divide it up and figure out, okay, this is a rectangle here, that's a triangle on top. This is a little triangle here that I'm going to subtract out. Or I could recognize, okay, well, if I don't want to do any subtracting, if I divide it right here, then I have a square here, a triangle here, and a trapezoid here. So which method you use, you can choose. Usually we look at what did they give us that's easiest to find. Well, they told me that this section here is 6, so I can subtract 15 minus 6 to find out this is 9. That lets me know that's a square. This side would also be 9, and then I have my height of a trapezoid. I feel like that might be easier than trying to figure out what the whole thing is. And then here, if I know the whole thing is 15, I know this part is 6 here, then the base of the triangle here has to be 9 also. So I'm going to do it using the triangle, square, and trapezoid method. So my triangle is 1/2 times my 9 base times 6 height. I multiply that out and get 27. My square is 9 times 9, which is 81. And my trapezoid, remember trapezoid is the one where I have to add, it's the 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. And so for my trapezoid, I have to add my 9 plus 6, divide it by 2, or multiply times 1/2, and then times my height, which here is the sideways height, which is 6. So when I multiply that out, I get 45. And then I just add them all together. So total area is my 27 plus 81 plus 45, which equals 153. This is units squared because they didn't tell us what type of unit we were dealing with. So we just put the 153. Alright, our next one nicely gives us the two sides of the rectangle. That's an easy area to find. And so if I have a rectangle, I multiply my base times height. So 16 times 12 equals, that one I'm going to put in the calculator, 192. Okay, so that's the part I'm going to subtract. Now I have to look at, for my circle, I need pi radius squared. Do I have the radius here? No, I have the two sides of the rectangle, but neither of those is the radius. Neither is the diameter. And so my radius is going to be this. It's going to be that third side of the circle, and it's going to be half of it. And so I have to find radius. I have to find the missing side of that right triangle. So I would do my 12 squared Pythagorean theorem plus 16 squared equals c squared. I plug that into my calculator and get 20 equals c. So if my whole side is 20, what would my radius be? And if you answered 10, that would be correct, because the radius is going to be half of it. And so now I can plug that back in to get pi 10 squared. I'll type that one in my calculator, and I get 3.14.159. Sorry, 314, because we multiplied it by 10 squared, 0.159. And then that, of course, I subtract. So my shaded part is the 314.159 minus 192. We could do that by hand, or we could type it into the calculator. Get 122.159. And then I'm going to round that to 122.16. And this one did give us meters squared, which is our answer. Alright, so once you have that, flip to the next page. Alright, this is a fun one. So we have a square in the middle. We know it's a square because it's 5 times 5. And so that would be 25 area in the middle. We can write that down if you want. And then you have two triangles on either side. And so triangle is base times height. We have the base is 5. It's 1/2 base times height. And I know that the whole thing is 17. So what could I do to get from 17 to just the height of each triangle? And so hopefully you recognize, well, we can subtract 17 minus 5. I drew that wrong, sorry. 17 minus 5 to get 12. Okay, so if we subtract out the 5 in the middle, so now I have 12 to go between this side and this side. Because I have two sides, I have to divide by 2 to get the height of each is 6. So a lot of times in these composite area, there's some steps in between, figure out what we're missing. And so my base is 5, my height is 6. I multiply that out and get 15. And I have two triangles. Plus the square is what my shape is. And so I do 15 plus 15 plus 25 to get 55. So my answer is 55 units squared. Alright, one last example. This one, we have half a circle. Those are also called a semicircle. And we have a rectangle. So let's do a rectangle first. It's really easy. 8 times 5 equals 40. That part's done. Now our circle, if this is 5, this also has to be 5. And so our radius would be half of that. So radius has to equal 5 divided by 2, or 2.5. Your calculator takes both versions of this, it just depends what you want to use. So 5 over 2, or 2.5, and so I can type into my calculator pi 2.5 squared, and let's see what that gives us. Gives me 19.635. Okay, so that's the radius, that's the area of a whole circle. Because I have half a circle, I just have to divide it in half. So I, in my calculator, take the same thing, divide by 2 to get 9.81748. I'm going to now round it to 2 decimal places to get 9.82. And then I just add them together to get 49.82. This time it gave me centimeters, so centimeters squared. Okay, so now turn to the back of your packet and finish up the assignment for today.